Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. Today we are going to do something a little different. Instead of a focus on in-game builds, this is going to be a build fit for a 160 or a person leveling to 160. It is a great build that will allow you to do dungeons, and I have tested it out on the majority of the beginning builds. Well, not beginning builds, but beginning dungeons. From Elden Hollow, Dark Shades, Banished Cells, Fungal Grotto, Spindle Clutch, Celine's Web even on that. Clear hard mode with no problem. So most of these builds here are either going to be crafted sets or overland sets that you can either buy 5 pieces for less than 20k, or or just craft it, which for the most part you can even do 150, which I think I have a video that I'm going to be uploading that shows the difference between 150 and 160. It's not a huge difference, but anyways, let's go ahead and jump into the build. As you can see, the first 5-piece set that we are running is Julianos. I'm running 2 staves, both infused. The back bar enchanted with a weapon damage enchant, the front bar enchanted with a flame enchant. Julianos, it's a craftable set from Rothgard. Spell crit, max magicka, spell crit, and spell damage. It's definitely nice to increase our damage. Now, our 2-piece, because we're not running a monster set, just hit 160. You're not going to have that 160 helmet. You might have some keys if you've done your dailies, your Undaunted dailies, but if you use them, then you're not going to have 160 shoulders either. So we're running 2-piece Torog's Pact, 1 medium, 1 heavy for the 5-1-1. Torog's Pact 2-piece is just going to give us spell damage. Both divines, both enchanted with max magicka. Now, as you get your shoulders, if you get a shoulder with max magicka, you can put that on. It's not going to make a huge difference if you get a helmet that gives you max magicka, magic recovery, or spell damage. Like Choke Thorns, magic recovery, Grofstar Shoulders, magic recovery, 1 piece. Now, there are a lot of sets for Labrys. There's a lot of sets out there that come from very easy dungeons on Vet that you can get and do this with. And then our second 5-piece set we're running is Wardmaiden. Wardmaiden comes from Vardenfell. It's very cheap. It's very easy to get. I was running around. I found rings for as little as 1k, as high as 9k, maybe some 10k. You can find, if you've got the gold, if you've been selling things and you've been making money. I've seen the gold jewelry, gold rings. Not so much necklaces, but to be honest with you, I really wasn't looking. But the gold rings I saw gold for around 30 to 40k. So you can definitely get the gold jewelry if you wanted to. You don't have to though. Purple jewelry should cost you no more than 10k. Body pieces, you can find an infused chest from one of the public dungeons that starts with the N. And if you've already got, for whatever reason, if you have a body set of Julianos made 160, you can do 2 quests. Located in Vardenfell. They're both in the. I went to Rothgar. They're both located in the top left and right up here. You'll have to do a quest for the city, then you'll have to do another quest where it's like going to get eggs. And this one, you have to do the quest up here, and then you get a second quest to go hit the shrines. It took me 45 minutes to do both of them on a separate tune. And you get a fire staff infused, and you get a lightning staff precise. So if you have the jewelry. You've already got your 5 pieces Julianos on the body. Don't worry about it. Just knock them quests out real quick, and you can get your weapons. Now, what Wardmaiden does is it gives you spell crit, gives you max magicka, spell damage, and it adds 386 spell damage to your magic damage abilities. Now, on a Templar, just about every one of the abilities that you use will be magic damage, and I'll go over that in a second. But all pieces, divines, all pieces with max magicka. Jewelry, all arcane, all spell damage. Alright, let's go to the character sheet. I forgot to show you that. Max magicka is 38.5, max health 16.5. Magic recovery is a little low, but that's because I'm using Bistat. If you use Dubious, or not Dubious, but Witch Mothers, it'll push us up over 1,000. You'll have no problem. Spell damage is 2.5. Spell crit is 53. And 64 points into magicka. I am a stage 4 vampire. And the boon I'm running is the Apprentice. Now you can drop the Apprentice for the lover and have some more penetration, or you can drop it and get the magic recovery one. Yeah, it's whatever. It's up to you. All right, skills. Inner Light. I'm gonna try a lot of these builds not to include some of the higher end abilities from the Mages Guild or the Fighters Guild, but if you have them, I'm gonna put them in there anyways, and then I'll show you a supplement for them. But Inner Light, what Inner Light does is that you get this really quick within the first quest. The Mages Guild quest you'll pretty much unlock. What it does is that you're not really worried about the first effect, it's more or less the second effect. While slot, your max magic is increased by 3%, and you gain major prophecy, increasing your spell critical rating by 2.1. Puncturing sweeps. Launch a relentless assault, striking enemies in front of you 4 times with your spear. The spear deals 3.2k magic damage to the closest enemy and 1.3k magic damage to all other enemies. Final strike reduces the movement speed of the closest enemy by 20% for 2 seconds, and you heal for 40% of the damage done with this ability. This is going to keep you alive. You're going to be able to pull big mobs, and you're going to be able to spam it. Now this is your execute. Burn any enemy with a ray of holy fire, dealing 15.8k magic damage over 2.9 seconds. Deals up to 330% more damage to enemies below 50% health. Also deals up 20% more damage in proportion to your current magicka. Now, that current magicka is not your total, it's how much you have left. So, if you have, it's going to deal an extra 20% based off of where your magicka is, when you activate it. So if it's here, it's going to be here. If it's full, it should never be full, honestly, in a battle. If you're actually DPSing, your magicka should never be full. Anyways, Purifying Light. Summon an expanding beam of pure sunlight to doom an enemy, dealing 4.5k magic damage to them, and copying all their damage taken for 6 seconds and release 20% of it as an additional magic damage to them. Maximum copy damage 23.1. When the effect ends, a pool of sunlight remains attached to the enemy, healing you and nearby allies for 2.7k health every 2 seconds for 6 seconds. Vampire's Bane. Blast an enemy with a charge of radiant heat, dealing 5k flame damage and an additional 12.1k flame damage over 11 seconds and reducing their movement speed by 40%. Upon activation, you gain Major Prophecy. So, it's not really that important because you have Major Prophecy through Inner Light. But Vampire's Bane is that's a huge dot that you put on an enemy. And then Thunderous Rage, the Death Roll. Create a storm, takes 2 seconds to build, deals 8.8k shot damage every 1 second for 7 seconds. Ability lasts 2 seconds longer from using a lightning staff. So it's going to last for 9 seconds. And that 8.8, it's not going to deal 8.8. It's going to be a lot. At least 12k, at least per tick. Now, back bar, we have Inner Light again. We have Degeneration. Bind an enemy with chaotic magic, dealing 7.8k magic damage over 12 seconds and healing you for 1.8k health and additional 1.8k health every 6 seconds. While active, your light and heavy attacks against the enemy have a 15% chance to heal you for 100% of the damage caused. Grants you Major Sorcery, increasing your spell damage by 20% for 20 seconds. Now, with these 2 abilities alone right here, you can use trash magic pots. It's a good way to save you money because this is going to give you your Major Prophecy, and this is going to give you your Major Sorcery, and this is going to give you your Major Prophecy. So you're good. You won't need spell power pots. So it'll save you a good bit of gold. If you have them, by all means, you can replace this with something else. But at least that way you have Major Prophecy and Major Sorcery up at all times. Shock Clinch. Devastate an enemy with enhanced charge from your staff, dealing 4.9k shock damage and an additional 6.3k shock damage over 8 seconds. Also stuns the target for 2.5 seconds and deals 4.5k shock damage to nearby enemies. Blazing Spear. Send your spear in the heavens, bring down a shower of divine wrath, dealing 5.3k magic damage to enemies in the area and an additional 1.3k magic damage every 1 second for 8 seconds. Allies can activate to restore 3.9k magicka or stamina, whichever one is higher. And then your Blockade of Storms, your main spammable, you're going to want to, this is one of the ones you're going to want to keep down at all times. Deals 2.1k shot damage to enemies in the target area every 1 second, set concussed enemies off balance for 5 seconds. And then our ultimate on the back bar is Solar Prison, calling down a fragment of the sun, dealing 4.9k magic damage every 1 second for 10 seconds to enemies in the area, inflicting them with major maim, reducing their damage done by 30 seconds. An ally near the fragment can activate the Gravity Crush Synergy, dealing 18.8k magic damage to all enemies in the area, stunning them for 5 seconds. Now, when it comes to our abilities, remember, we have more main here. Magic damage, we're getting that extra 3.86. Now, if you get the gold, if you gold all this out, because you can get a gold necklace and you can get gold rings. I don't think I have any on me at the moment. It will be 400 added to your magic damage abilities. And like I was saying with the abilities, this is magic damage. This is magic damage, magic damage, magic, magic, magic. So, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of your abilities. 6 out of the 12. So half your abilities are magic damage. And, basically, main spammable, your execute. This, you keep this up at all times. It's definitely some of your best abilities. Your main abilities will be getting that boost from War Maiden. CP points. Now, I do have all my CP points in, so I would say put them to where you feel comfortable. But for the most part, starting out, you're going to want Arcanist and Tenacity the most. So definitely try to balance this out to where you feel comfortable, and then put in the other ones in like Warlord, Sprinter, uh, Shadow Ward, and Tumbling if you need be. But I'm not max CP on this account, so you want to try to get it as close as you can to a whole percent. Anything over that, it's just a waste, honestly. But not having max CP, it's kind of hard to do that, to keep everything at a whole percentage. Elfborn, Elemental Expert, Spell Erosion should be your main three. So again, just balance them out to where you feel comfortable with them. Staff Expert, increase the damage with your light and heavy attacks, and Master at Arms. Master at Arms is going to increase the damage done with your direct damage attacks. It just increases the damage of the spear for the most part, but I like having it. I feel comfortable with it right there. It definitely allows me to just go in and spam a spear on normal dungeons and just blow through it for the most part. And then Thermometer, and damage over time, which for your damage over time abilities, you got 1, 2. The dots on this, I don't know if it's considered damage over time abilities or not. If someone knows, and can you tell me in the comment section below, please. Same thing with these, but I do believe these are all damage over time abilities. This is a damage over time ability, and same thing with most of this, I believe, but I know this gets a boost off of it as well. Anyways, so again, you want to just balance it out to where you feel comfortable with. And for the red, you want to go with Hardy and Elemental Defender, and then shuffle them around to where you feel most comfortable. I would put some in Quick Recovery, so that way your heals from your spear is a lot more, and you're able to stand in a whole lot longer. So basically, when it comes to the abilities, you're going to want to start off with Degenerate, kids at Major Prophecy, Major Sorcery. Throw those down, and by the most part, most of the things are already dead before you've ever had to go to your main bar to do any kind of damage. So let's just see what everything is buffed up. 3.5k spell damage with 53% crit. So that is not half bad. You're definitely looking at some high damage. So this should be no problem. This is a build that you should not have any trouble with running through any kind of dungeon. Your vet dungeons. Now, it might not be the best for like vet, Imperial City Prison, vet ruins, things like that. It is possible to get it done if you have a really good group that knows what they're doing. But I would definitely recommend getting your monster set, whether it's just Grothdar first or Lambris. You could even go Slime Crawl, because they don't have anything that increases their damage by 8%, like Night Blades and other ones have. So you can do Slime Crawl on the magic build as well, because it does do spell crit as well as weapon crit, and they increase your damage done by 8%. But anyways, so that's the beginner build, guys, for a Magic Templar. I'm going to try to get the other ones out as soon as possible. But until then, y'all have a great time, and as always, thanks for tuning in.